Welcome back to Project 94 for another Diecast review here on the channel. And today, we're going to be looking at one of the most highly anticipated Kyle Busch 164s and the most highly anticipated Kyle Busch diecast of the season. Here is Kyle Busch and his 2023 Lucas Oil Auto Club Race Win Chevrolet Camaro number 8 for Richard Childress Racing. Finally, we get this diecast in September of 2023. Here it is, finally released, the Kyle Busch Auto Club Win, which I gotta say is probably one of my favorite Kyle Busch diecasts to be released thus far. Not only that it's his first win at RCR, but this has got to be one of his best paint schemes, in my opinion. There's nothing that I love more than a good blue Chevy Camaro paint scheme. So here is the box for you guys that want to see what the packaging looks like. The 124s for race versions have a pretty cool looking box this year. It has like a little checkered flag pattern on it. I saw it when the 124 for the Kyle Busch Auto Club Win, but here it is. The diecast finally released. You can get this in the 164 and the 124. But here it is out of the box. Really highly anticipated Kyle Busch car for the Kyle Busch fans. So I gotta make sure that this video review is as in-depth as possible with the details. But here it is out of the box. The 2023 Kyle Busch Lucas Oil Auto Club Raced version. And I gotta say, there is a lot of detail, especially in the front of this car. A lot of speedy dry and tire buildup that really make up this race version. Scratches on the right side. This has got to be one of the coolest Kyle Busch diecasts of the season. It is really awesome. So yeah, guys, let's get straight into the diecast review. We're going to do our special zoom in and enhance because we are with a special race version. So here's the front of the car. You have number 8, Richard Childress Racing with the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 front end. We will go over the race version detail after we cover the sponsors. On the big, you have a big old Lucas on the hood right there, if the camera can focus on this logo here. There you go. A big old Lucas logo on the hood right there, which looks super good. Of course, you have Kyle Busch with the specialized windshield on this car. So like that, it goes all the way a little bit lower than the standard windshield banner because, you know, the sunlight at Auto Club can be pretty intense. So you have that on there. You have the gold. This is a cool detail. A gold Chevy banner, which is really, really cool to see that the little Chevy logo is the gold color instead of the white. So we have a gold Chevy logo. Very, very cool. And of course, the hood vents accurate to the real life car. So there it is. Big old Lucas. Fun fact, the font on the hood for Lucas is different than the font for the side. The side font is actually the more traditional Lucas font. So the hood has a special, specialized font. So a little fun fact right there for people who may not have noticed that before. You have Sunoco covered up in the speedy dry and the tire buildup. You have a white Goodyear logo, yellow Goodyear lettering with the gray rims. You have NASCAR Cup Series with a blue paint chip on the Series logo, which is awesome. You have the NASCAR 75th anniversary logo. You have number 8. Rowdy. You have Alsco uniforms, Cheddar Scratch Kitchen, and a, well, it's not on the car. There would have been a 3Chi logo right there next to the Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen logo. You have the Pit Arrow Indicator by the Rocker. Of course, you have Chevrolet, Lucas. You got Sherwin-Williams, PTC. Nope, we're not on the PTC mold. That's just a sponsor. Let's see, Comedic and KCMG. You have a slanted Lucas logo to fit the new number placement. Of course, you have BetMGM, Lucas, or Professional Lucas Oil Products Incorporated. You're going to have Net Spend right there, which is one of the new diecasts that are going to be reviewed here soon. On the back, you have Okuma Lucas Oil, big on the back right there, number 8. Chevrolet, the rear view camera, Camaro, and ZL1 with the giant black spoiler, which should be the smaller spoiler, but it's not on this diecast. You have Lucas Oil on the deck lid and Busch on the windshield banner. Then, of course, you have Lucas Oil on the roof with the number 8 on the top. So now it's time for the paint scheme. We're going to review that first since it's going to be kind of a long video. You know, you have the new paint scheme, which is clean enough to be reviewed, and the race version detail. So let's start out with the paint scheme itself. This car is spray painted a similar type of blue to the Larson, but it's a slightly different shade for the Kyle Busch Lucas car. Lucas Oil Blue, I'll call it. You have the black spoiler, a black splitter in the front, which actually is covered up in a decal for the race version, which is nice, got the nice carbon texture to it. And of course, the black roof rails on the top. Now it's time for the main paint scheme. You're going to have the outline to the number, which is thin black outline, red outline, and a white number fill-in with some silver accenting to it, which I believe is chrome on the real car on the doors. Correct me if I am wrong. But of course, you got the number 8. Bigger than it would be on a normal diecast release, so it's a pretty good-looking sized 8 on the doors of this car. And for the most part, this is a very blue paint scheme. There's really not much of a paint scheme to it outside of one major detail, and that is the white and red striping, which is going to start out at the front bottom of the OEM details. It's going to be slanted a little bit. It's like that it can look more meaner and more aggressive out front of this diecast. So as you guys could see, the stripe in white is going to be the thickest stripe, and the red is just going to be the red outline stripe, outlining the white highlights on there, which is really cool. Then it's going to swoop through the wheel well, and then it's going to be right behind the number 8, or in front of the number 8, if you're looking at it on this side. It's going to have a very HendrickCars.com looking swoop that's going to slash through a bit of the 8, a bit of the Cup Series logo, and definitely through the 75th anniversary logo for NASCAR. It's going to slash through that. You're going to have, basically, it's a red swoop, and then the white's going to be splitting in half, evenly split right there. The white is going to swoop through, and same with this stripe. It's the shortest swoop because the upper swoop right here is going to slash through, and it's going to be spaced out evenly with the red right there and the white. So it's got a space right there, and it's going to spike into the driver's seat of this car. But yeah, pretty simple little red swoosh on the front of this thing. Looks a lot like the HendrickCars.com paint scheme, but most of it is blue for this scheme. And the red is a pretty nice shade of red. It's pretty much a standard red, matching the Lucas Oil logo. So the red, white, and blue color combination definitely matches the sponsor of Lucas Oil. But outside of that, the rest of it is just a blue paint scheme. I'm going to look around one more time to see if I notice anything else more with the paint scheme, but that seems to be pretty much it. Yep, that is pretty much it for the paint scheme. So now we're going to get into the race version details. So now this is where the detailed part of the video is going to start coming in. So here's the front of this car. You got a lot of dirt buildup, speedy dry, and tire wear buildup on the front of this thing. So let's get a look at that. You have a bit of a camera underneath the front grille right here. This actually has a printed grille opening right there, which looks pretty cool. You can see the grille on this car. And the splitter, as we mentioned before, is not just black. It's got a carbon texture to it. And it's a bit scratched up as well, which is cool. It's got some race version detail. It has the same amount of dirt and buildup on the splitter as the rest of the nose. So if you flip it underneath, the bottom is also covered up in that decal, which is nice to see. And let's get a closer look up at the front corners right here. Look at that. You can barely make out the Sunoco logo. You can barely make out that fake vent on the front of the Camaro. Look at how covered up it is in just tire buildup. Just beautiful race version detail. And when you get a close-up look at it, you're going to see even more tire buildup. And of course, as we mentioned in all race versions, anything with a white background, you're definitely going to be able to tell has been dirtied up during the race. So here it is, the Lucas logo. You're going to see the white tire buildup covering all of the white right there on the blue. Pretty much the whole front of this thing is covered up in that. It's very tiny, it's very sprinkled, but you could definitely tell this is covered up in tire buildup. Here's the top of this thing. It wouldn't surprise me if there's some up there as well. Doesn't really look to be any. Oh, never mind. There is actually on the number 8. You're mostly going to see it behind white backdrops. So, of course, you can see some tire buildup on the roof as well. And now let's look at the left, or the right side first. I was going to look at the left side first, but I was like, nah, let's look at the right side. We always do the right side first. Here's a close-up of it. Right here, you got some scratches on the wheel well. And of course, on the next-gen car, the fenders are more flatter, like around the wheel well. So you're going to definitely see some scratch marks on it. And because of the way the fenders stick out, you're really not going to see scratches on door numbers anymore, or on the door. This would have all been probably scratched up on the older cars. But the way the next gen is, around the wheel wells are the most damaged, scratched up part of a race version now. So you got some on the front right there. That paint chip that's not supposed to be there on the NASCAR Cup Series logo. You got some more tire buildup on this side as well. The side skirts are covered up in the same dirt and tire buildup as the splitter. It's pretty much all over the car. So you're going to have it on the side skirts as well. Or the side skirts. The sides of the underbody, because now that's attached, which is great. Of course, you can see the entire, anywhere with white, you're going to see that tire buildup as well on the Lucas and the number 8. Man, the biggest scratch on this thing is right here on the back. The right rear is literally, it's almost green looking. That's how scratched up this is. So pretty intense with the scrapes on the right side, because he was really digging in on the wall big time. So he definitely didn't come away without a scratch. You're also going to see the rear window printing, the fake rear quarter window printing. Rear quarter looks, outside of the fender, this part looks pretty clean. Let's look at the back. You got some tire buildup a little bit, not as much as on the front, because the front is what's hitting the air, the dirty air. Of course, the back, maybe a little, but not as much as the rest. Here's the deck lid of this thing, looks to be fairly clean. You got some tape on the deck lid, little rivets right there. Then you're going to have the roof once again, and now we're going to look at the left side. So the left side of this thing has got to be the cleanest. Look at this side, or the cleanest side on the car. So this side right here on the right, on the left rear of this car, you're definitely going to have some burnout tire buildup right there, which is really, really cool to see, as you guys could tell. The way the decal wraps on, you can see the rubber just, woof. It just scrubs up on that on that fender right there on the left. It's going to be coated in like a shadowy effect to it, probably the way the tire buildup was. Let me see if there's any like fuel drippage. I don't see any fuel drippage from the biofuel logo right there. The Lucas Oil logo is going to be a bit dirty. You got some more tire buildup on this side as well. And you got a bit of a scratch right there from the race, I believe. That right there, you see what I'm pointing? That. Then, of course, you're going to have a burned-up looking little rocker box, pit road indicator arrow. Then the rest of it looks pretty clean. I think the blue parts of it are the most clean, except this part right here, the left rear, where it really got kind of messed up with the rubber. The funny part is, the Gen 6 cars, this fender would fold in, like it would roll. It would literally roll the fender up. On the next gen cars, it's a bit more structure here, so that'll stay together. But it's definitely going to get dirty regardless. And that is the Kyle Busch race version. And one more thing, got some like little like noodles right there. I don't know what to call those. You got one right there. I think the rest is fine. I don't see it anywhere else. So something must have flew in the air and that landed on the hood right there, and they added it to the car. Got a bit of a decal fold right there. That little white thing. Or maybe it's on all the cars. Just can't tell with Lionel's quality if it's supposed to be there or not with the race versions. But yeah, definitely the most raced up parts of this car are the front and the right side, because he really did scratch the wall pretty good with the right side. So that's probably the coolest angle of it if you're looking for race version detail. As you can tell, the right rear, which is this part right here, is a bit cleaner than this side. This side definitely got dirtier. But you're definitely going to see the scratches on the right side of this thing. He really... I'm telling you, if this was the Gen 6 car, that probably could have been race ending, but he did kind of slightly glance off the wall, so he probably would have been able to continue. But this next gen car definitely makes it easier for these guys to continue on after making little mistakes, because he was running the outside a lot. So that explains why the right side looks like this. But yeah, very, very cool looking Kyle Busch race version. So I'm going to do one more 360 view of this thing. So here's the front of the car. Here's the hood. Here's the right side of this thing, which has all the scratches. Here's the back. Here's the deck lid. Here's the roof of this car. Here's the right side and the underbody. So there it is. For you stop motion makers, if you don't mind having a lot of tire buildup in the front and a few scratches on the right side, you could use this in a stop motion series. It's definitely unfortunate for those who want a fully clean version of this car. I really don't think they're going to produce it. I highly doubt it if that car ever gets made. And what's funny about this paint scheme is that in the initial renders, they actually had more white right here. This used to be just an all-white little swoop, and the red was a much thinner outline, but then they changed it to look like this. So that's a bit of a fun fact as well. You guys can compare the rendering to the race version. That'll be a fun fact for you guys. So this paint scheme was changed before the race. So if we did get the clean version, it probably would not have been accurate. But yeah, this car, I really like the blue, red, and white combination. It's very Valvoline-like. And, you know, as a fan of Valvoline, Lucas Oil designed a pretty nice car. It's like the Valvoline in that it's a simple, not overly done paint scheme. It's a pretty simple scheme, but it's effective. Simple, but effective. Just like some 1990s, early 2000s certain paint schemes that would just not have that much going on, but a few logos and a simple side design. I mean, definitely when you look at this, even in the rearview mirror, you're definitely going to be able to read that Lucas. They made sure that that was a big focus of this car. It is fully enlarged. It's a specialized font. They want to see you coming in that Lucas Oil car from behind. So yeah, that is a very, very cool paint scheme. And on top of that, the race version detail itself is worth the buy for race version collectors. It's not the most racked and destroyed race version ever because, you know, Kyle Busch ran a clean race and he only just scraped the wall a few times. So if you're looking for a super intense race version, this is definitely not for you. But if you are a fan of Kyle Busch and you like the paint scheme and it's his first win and you like first wins with new teams, which is what I meant to say, first win with RCR, you're definitely going to want to have this. And if you're a NASCAR diecast collector, you should just collect it anyways because it's just that cool of a diecast. I think it's really one of those diecasts where if you didn't buy it, you'd be pretty sad you didn't get it. It's like, man, I wish I got that car. I've been in that scenario with a few diecasts. Like, man, I wish I got that car. So this is definitely one you're going to want to have in your collection, the Kyle Busch Auto Club win. It's really cool. No confetti on it, but there's probably some people that are glad that there's no confetti because they're like, oh man, you're going to put confetti all over the beautiful paint scheme and we're never going to get the clean version of it. So yeah, I understand where those people are coming from. I don't mind having no confetti on this either because I want to admire the beauty of this Lucas Oil paint scheme. It's one of my favorite Kyle Busch paint schemes. And Kyle Busch definitely has the most sponsors. He literally has more sponsors than Joe Gibbs Racing right now. So yeah, shame on Joe Gibbs. This diecast is definitely a representation of Kyle Busch's comeback, now with RCR. So, yeah, there it is, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this diecast review. I enjoyed reviewing this car because I love the paint scheme and it's a cool race version. Thank you all for checking out this diecast review. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next diecast review. And always remember to make sure you know what you're doing when you're putting decals on your diecasts.